Well, welcome back to any of you who find your way here. Obviously, as you can see already, poor old 1950 decided to have a few issues here. We started looking into it. Here's where it all started. Started out with what looked like just really, really bad wet stacking. Seemed to be a little gooey and sticky. Started thinking more motor oil. At one of the tractor shows, we had a guy come in and he worked on a lot of Detroit engines for the feed mill in the local town, and he says, I bet you've got a broken ring. So we started looking into some stuff, got the injectors out, sent them in, and they weren't great, but the more we looked into it, we were able to look into the airbox of the engine, and looked like number 2 cylinder was building up quite a layer of crud all around the intake ports on the sleeve. So the 2-stroke Detroit cylinder piston goes down and it clears these, and that's where your intake air is going in. The blower's keeping the whole compartment pressurized, and then it comes up compression fire, and then it does the whole thing in 2 strokes. And here is what we found. Bits and pieces of ring all broke off. See on top of number 2 piston there, I decided to get a little bit in there and chewed it up. So we got looking around, got the engines apart here already, hanging up. We actually started going back together with a little bit of it, got new cam bearings in already. And down in the airbox, you can't see it there, I should give you guys a flashlight. Anyhow, step by step, just kept getting farther and farther and farther into this one. To where she's getting a full out of frame anyway. There's, let's see. There's one piece of piston ring laying down in there. Quite a few bit more on the other side. But it had started filling the airbox up with all the pieces of the ring it didn't like anymore. So we're getting that all worked up. She's going to get a whole new set of sleeves and pistons. A lot of parts started showing up already. And while we're at it, gonna get some new sleeves or some seals all on the blower. Get that rebuilt. Make sure that wasn't blowing any oil in there. Got the cam, was looking it over. Let's see. Yep. There a guy can start seeing all the wear and pitting, and it's pretty smooth really, but it'll catch your fingernails. That's enough to send it in. We're gonna drop that off here this weekend before the holiday at Cam Shop, see what they can do with it. But the mains and the rod bearings all look good. We're going to put new ones in while we're here, but the crankshaft seems perfectly fine. And the 2-speed hydropower. Decided to start setting up a bit of a leak on it. I got that seal changed already on the back of there. Nice thing about having it out of there was I was able to see in there and figure out exactly where it was coming from. We got that fixed. Hopefully that stays sealed. We were going to make an attempt to just do an in-frame at it. Good thing we had it out to get the cam out anyway. But with the 4-wheel drive set up on 1950 Oliver here, we ended up having to take the whole engine out just to get the oil pan off. This whole structure here for holding that up was square in the way, give you just a little bit of clearance. Definitely not enough to drop it down and get it past the oil uptake tube. And it's going to get a throw-out bearing while we're at it. The hub running the PTO shaft all the way to the back. That is about down to a point. So we're going to get a replacement one of those and get it put in. That should be on its way. I think the replacement shaft got here already. I'll show you guys the end of that. Yeah. It ain't great. It's got wore down definitely quite a ways there where it's engaged on the splines up in the flywheel. So this shaft runs all the way up from the back of the tractor here. And that's how we get our live power and our live PTO. All the way up into the flywheel ahead of the clutch. And then one set of splines is running in your hydraulics. The other set of splines is able to run the PTO. That's how Oliver answered the question of getting your PTO and your hydraulics to keep working, even though you push your clutch in. There's nothing really wrong with this manifold terribly. Just that it's got quite a bit of old corrosion that had been cleaned off at some point. We're gonna go ahead and get a better shape one and put it on there. That should be on its way too. One fun thing I was able to learn that I didn't know yet is of course the studs just came all the way out. There's no way that nut was going to clear those threads. But on the 453 Detroit engine, these threads go into a water jacket, which is kind of a nice thing to learn, kind of fun. So if there's something starting to leak in there, too bad. The guys can always get them in, get them sealed up, especially if you got something dripping on the right side of that engine too bad. And if you remember from one of the other videos, we have the Memorial tractor here that we're working on. Just got the paint all stripped on it here 2 days ago. We're getting in here, we'll get the wheels off, fix an oil leak or two, it looks like, and then we'll get some primer on there, but that's all gonna have to wait until after Thanksgiving. We are headed out to the in-laws' place. We'll be there for more than a few days. Let the kids play with Grandpa and Grandma. Well, I probably should have done more videos along the way as we were starting to dig into it and find things more and more, but here we are in the midst of hauling quite a few soybeans. We're going to start hauling a bunch of corn. Gotta pay the bills and keep these things running. I'll catch you around later.